Welcome to District Command Central, your go-to source for the latest news and updates on the Washington Commanders. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and ring the bell so you never miss a play. Brian Robinson's story in Washington has been one of quiet consistency, a reliable running back who never truly captured the spotlight but always delivered when called upon. Drafted in the 3rd round, he entered the league with expectations of becoming a physical, bruising runner who could set the tone for the Commanders' offense. Over the past 3 seasons, he proved himself with over 20 touchdowns, tough yards, between the tackles, and a steady presence when injuries hit the roster. Yet the NFL is a business first and foremost, and the emergence of Jacoby Krosky-Merritt, a rookie few even thought would make the team, has shifted the outlook dramatically. Krosky-Merritt has shown burst, vision, and versatility that fit well into the modern offensive schemes, making Robinson's role suddenly look expendable. The whispers of a possible trade have now become louder, with insiders suggesting Washington is shopping Robinson to see who might bite. According to Jordan Schultz of Fox Sports, Washington isn't simply dangling Robinson as a last-minute camp cut candidate. Instead, they are carefully exploring trade partners who might value his experience, production, and contract situation. This detail is important because it signals that the Commanders no longer see Robinson as part of their long-term future. It's not that Robinson has been bad. He's been exactly what coaches look for in a starter: dependable, physical, and durable. But in today's NFL, teams crave explosiveness, flexibility, and cap efficiency at running back. Krosky-Merritt, with his late-round rookie deal and promising flashes in practice, checks all those boxes. While Washington would prefer not to trade him within the NFC East, the league's running back market might force them into tough decisions. Robinson's steady floor, combined with his approaching free agency, makes him an intriguing option. For teams desperate to solidify their depth chart, the Los Angeles Chargers immediately come to mind as a logical landing spot for Robinson, especially considering the uncertainty surrounding Najee Harris. Harris, after signing with the Chargers in free agency, suffered a bizarre and concerning injury in a fireworks accident. Although reports insist he's recovering and already participating in some football activities, the ambiguity leaves fans and coaches nervous. Can Harris be trusted to carry a heavy workload through a grueling season? That's where Robinson becomes valuable. He isn't flashy, but he's sturdy and proven, the kind of back who can take on 15 carries a game and help control tempo. Pairing Robinson with rookie Omarion Hampton gives head coach Jim Harbaugh and offensive coordinator Greg Roman a 1-2 punch capable of wearing down defenses. Roman's offensive philosophy thrives on physical runners who stick to the script, and Robinson fits that mold better than most available options. Meanwhile, the Dallas Cowboys might actually represent the most desperate suitor. Dallas enters 2025 with a running back room that looks more like a patchwork experiment than a championship-caliber unit. Javonte Williams and Miles Sanders are familiar names, but their production has declined significantly, and neither has resembled a reliable starter in recent years. The Cowboys did draft Jadon Blue, but as a 5th-round rookie with limited upside, it's unrealistic to expect him to carry the load. In a league where teams need at least one dependable option, in the backfield, Dallas stands out as a glaring weakness. The complication, of course, is division rivalry. Washington might hesitate to strengthen a direct competitor in the NFC East, but if Jerry Jones comes calling with a strong offer, the Commanders may not be able to resist. Robinson in Dallas would give Dak Prescott a steady runner to lean on. Another intriguing fit is with the Kansas City Chiefs, a team that always seems to be looking for the extra spark on offense despite already being loaded with talent. Isaiah Pacheco has carved out a reputation as a fiery physical runner who plays with relentless energy. However, as entertaining as his style can be, Pacheco's limitations are evident. He's not a polished receiver, his vision can be inconsistent, and he leaves yards on the field by missing cutback opportunities. Brian Robinson isn't a game-breaking athlete, but he does bring more patience and a better feel for following. Blockers behind Kansas City's offensive line, Robinson could thrive as a complementary piece who helps keep the chains moving and eases pressure on Patrick Mahomes. Andy Reid has always valued versatility in his backfield, And while Robinson may never be a star, he provides enough to elevate the overall group and keep defenses honest. What makes Robinson's situation particularly fascinating is the contrast between perception and reality. From a fan's perspective, he's a grinder, not a highlight reel player, and sometimes those guys get overlooked. Yet inside NFL circles, coaches and scouts love players who do the little things right. Robinson is willing to pass protect, he secures the football, and he executes the play as designed. That reliability is hard to find, especially in a league where younger, more explosive backs often struggle with the mental side of the game. Washington's willingness to move on from him is less about his shortcomings and more about the economics of the position. With Krosky Merritt flashing potential and playing on a cheap rookie contract, the Commanders can allocate resources elsewhere, particularly at positions that carry more long-term value in roster construction. Robinson, through no fault of his own, finds himself in the familiar NFL cycle of expendability. Washington's front office has made it clear in recent years that they are not afraid to make bold decisions, and this situation only reinforces that philosophy. The Commanders have long been searching for an offensive identity, and with new coaching leadership, they appear to be leaning into speed, versatility, and unpredictability. Krosky Merritt symbolizes that shift. His ability to catch passes, make defenders miss, and hit the home run play makes him a more attractive fit for where this team wants to go. Robinson's skill set, while dependable, doesn't carry the same upside. Trading him now, while he still has value, gives Washington both draft capital and salary flexibility. In the end, it's about timing. Robinson might still be productive for another 3 or 4 years, but Washington is looking beyond that window, aiming to build something sustainable with younger, more dynamic pieces. Of course, the big question is what Robinson's market actually looks like. Running backs rarely bring in significant trade returns, even the more explosive ones. Teams around the league know the position is replaceable, and with college football consistently producing fresh talent, spending high draft capital on a veteran is unlikely. Washington probably isn't expecting more than a mid to late round pick, but that doesn't mean the move lacks significance. For Robinson, a change of scenery could rejuvenate his career and put him in a system that leans more on his strengths. For Washington, it signals trust in Krosky Merritt and a commitment to reshaping the roster. Sometimes trades aren't about winning the deal on paper, they're about aligning the team's identity with its personnel. Robinson's departure would be bittersweet, but it also opens doors for both sides. Fans of the Commanders might feel conflicted, especially considering Robinson's role as a locker room leader and a steady voice in the offense. He has been through highs and lows with the franchise, and moving on from a player who embodied toughness isn't easy. But NFL teams can't operate with sentimentality. If anything, this moment underscores how quickly things change in professional football. Just a few seasons ago, Robinson was viewed as a foundational piece. Now, with one rookie camp performance, his status is uncertain. The league moves fast, and younger players often dictate how teams adjust. For Washington fans, the hope will be that Krosky Merritt's early flashes translate into real production when the games matter. If he proves himself, the sting of losing Robinson may fade. If not, the trade will be second-guessed for years. That's the gamble every front office takes. Ultimately, the Brian Robinson trade rumors capture everything that makes the NFL so compelling. It's not just about talent. It's about timing, fit, opportunity, and vision. Robinson remains a proven, reliable back, but in Washington, the future seems to belong to someone else. Whether he ends up in Los Angeles, Dallas, Kansas City, or another unexpected destination, Robinson will bring toughness, professionalism, and production to whichever team takes the chance. For Washington, the move could symbolize a new chapter, one built on speed and upside. For Robinson, it's an opportunity to redefine his role and prove his value once again. These stories remind us that football isn't just played on Sundays, it's a year-round chess match where every move shapes the future. And right now, the Commanders are signaling that their future no longer revolves around Brian Robinson. If you're enjoying the coverage, make sure to smash that like button and drop a comment with your thoughts on the Commanders' latest moves. We want to hear from you. The NFL world woke up buzzing today, and the shockwave is all about Chase Young. Yes, you heard that right. The former #2 overall pick is officially back in Washington after a lightning-fast trade that stunned fans and analysts alike. Just when everyone thought his chapter with the Commanders was closed, the story took a wild turn. And now the defensive star finds himself once again in the city where his professional journey began. It's the kind of twist that feels more like a blockbuster movie plot than an NFL transaction, and it has instantly ignited speculation about what this move really means. Washington fans are torn between excitement, nostalgia, and caution, because while Young's talent is undeniable, his time away left many wondering if his body could hold up, and if his consistency could finally match the promise he showed as a rookie. For those who might have forgotten, Chase Young entered the NFL as one of the most hyped prospects of his generation. Coming out of Ohio State, he was described as a once-in-a-decade pass rusher, a player with the blend of size, speed, and motor that coaches dream of. In his rookie year with Washington, he looked every bit the part, winning Defensive Rookie of the Year and establishing himself as a nightmare for opposing quarterbacks. But the following seasons were not as smooth. Injuries piled up, snaps were missed, and critics started to whisper that the shine had worn off. The trade to another team was seen as the reset button, the chance for Young to get out of the Washington spotlight and rebuild. But now, in one of the most surprising twists of this NFL offseason, that same spotlight is suddenly back on him. The biggest question swirling right now is simple. Why would Washington bring him back? At first glance, it seems almost contradictory, given that the Commanders were the ones who decided to move on not long ago. But digging deeper, this might actually make sense for both sides. Washington is in the middle of a major identity shift, new ownership, and a new front office looking to send a message to the fans. Bringing back Chase Young is more than a football move. It's a statement. It's the kind of transaction that says we're serious about restoring pride. And from Young's perspective, returning to the place that believed in him first could be a chance at redemption. He has the motivation, the familiarity, and most importantly, a chip on his shoulder. Fans, of course, are already split down the middle. On one side, you have those who can't stop smiling at the idea of seeing that number 99 jersey back in burgundy and gold. They remember the rookie year dominance, the energy, the swagger, and they believe those flashes can return in a big way. On the other side, you have the skeptics, the fans who look at his injury history and inconsistent production and wonder if this is just a nostalgic gamble rather than a smart rebuild move. For a franchise that has been trying to get over the hump for decades, the stakes feel massive. One group sees the potential for Young to reemerge as a defensive leader, while the other fears a repeat of broken promises. Both sides have their arguments, and that's exactly what makes this such a juicy storyline. From a locker room perspective, the move is even more fascinating. When Young left Washington, there were whispers that relationships inside the building weren't as smooth as they could be. Questions about work ethic, communication, and fit with the coaching staff lingered. Now, with an entirely different leadership group running the show, those old issues might not matter. The Commanders' new staff has been preaching culture and accountability, and maybe they see Young as someone who, with the right guidance, could thrive again. There's also the chemistry aspect with players he already knows. Reuniting with former teammates could either reignite a spark or bring back old tensions, but if everyone's locked in with the same goal, the defensive unit could benefit in a huge way. It's high risk, high reward, and the locker room will feel it immediately. Then there's the bigger picture. Washington's defense has been searching for an identity. Once feared as a unit, they've slipped into inconsistency over the last couple of seasons. Bringing back Young could be a direct attempt to re-establish that intimidation factor up front. Imagine a defensive line anchored by a fully healthy Chase Young, collapsing pockets and forcing turnovers. That's the dream scenario that's driving excitement right now. Because no matter how you slice it, when Young is on the field, offenses have to account for him. Double teams, altered protection schemes, forced checkdowns, all of it shifts when he's lining up across from a tackle. If Washington can harness that version of him, the defense transforms overnight. And if the gamble pays off, this will be remembered as the move that reignited the Commanders' defensive fire. Of course, we can't ignore the business side of this deal. The phrase lightning fast trade is being used everywhere, and for good reason. The transaction seemed to come out of nowhere without the weeks of rumors and speculation we usually see in these cases. That suggests urgency, and urgency in the NFL almost always means opportunity. Maybe Washington saw a brief opening to bring him back before another team swooped in, or maybe Young himself pushed for the return. Either way, the speed of the move tells us this wasn't a slow negotiation. It was a decisive strike. The front office didn't hesitate, and that kind of boldness is exactly what fans have been begging for. Whether it's genius or recklessness is up for debate, but it certainly won't be boring. Another layer to this story is how the rest of the league views it. Around NFL circles, Chase Young is still a respected name. Opposing coaches game planned. For him, linemen studied extra tape to prepare, and his presence commanded attention. That reputation doesn't just vanish, even if his production dipped. Now that he's back in Washington, other teams will be watching closely to see if this reunion is the catalyst for a resurgence. If Young can stay healthy and perform, it will look like Washington pulled off one of the most clever moves of the year. But if he struggles again, the league will view it as a sentimental mistake. The narrative will swing hard either way. And in the NFL, perception matters just as much as reality. And then we get to the emotional angle, which is maybe the most powerful of all. For Chase Young, returning to Washington isn't just about football, it's about legacy. This is the city that drafted him, the fans who cheered for him before the setbacks, and the place where he once looked destined to become a franchise. Cornerstone. Coming back gives him the rare chance to rewrite his story, to prove that the early hype wasn't misplaced, and to show that adversity has only made him stronger. Fans love a comeback story, and if Young delivers, this could become one of the most celebrated chapters in Commanders history. Redemption arcs are the heartbeat of sports, and right now that's exactly what's on the table. So here we are standing in the middle of one of the most intriguing NFL storylines of the offseason. Chase Young back in Washington, wearing the colors that first introduced him to the league. Nobody saw it coming, yet now it feels like the whole football world can't look away. The Commanders are gambling big, fans are buzzing, and the narrative possibilities are endless. Will this be the rebirth of a star? The move that puts Washington's defense back on the map and the beginning of something special under new leadership? Or will it be another reminder that nostalgia doesn't win football games? Time will tell, but one thing is certain. The Chase Young saga has circled back to where it all began, and the NFL just got a lot more interesting because of it. Thanks for tuning into District Command Central. Make sure to subscribe and follow us for all the Commanders news you need. Until next time, keep the faith and hail to the Commanders.